Fallout is an RPG based in America after nuclear war had destroyed almost all life, though some found shelter in the vaults spread across the country. But before Bethesda's welcome additions to the franchise like real-time, as well as first-person perspective, and before their retcons and butchering of some of the lore, Fallout was an isometric, turn-based RPG and one of the most revered of its time for being a breath of fresh air away from the stigma of RPGs only having knights, magic, and ugh. It was also praised for having a believable premise and darker, more mature undertones that came with the concept of life after the world had been decimated by nuclear holocaust. At the start of a new game, regardless of whether you create a character or pick and modify a pre-made character, you'll see this menu. On the far left, you'll see your special stats. Special standing for strength, perception, endurance, charisma, intelligence, agility, and luck. You are given 33 points to put into each of your special stats, and it's crucial that you balance them well for your playstyle. Each skill can be as low as 1 or as high as 10. I recommend giving your character a 6 strength at the very least and high agility. Strength is self-explanatory, and some weapons in the game require your character to have a specific level of strength to use them. Agility, because your assigned amount of AP or action points is determined by whatever number your agility is, meaning it determines how much you get to do and how many actions you can squeeze out in a single turn. Your derived stats are directly to the right of your special stats and are actively affected by them. Below your special stats are optional traits or perks that can add a unique flavor and spin to your playthroughs. You are allowed 2 of these at the start and can choose more sometimes when you level up. At the right, you can tag skills and improve them despite whatever your special stats might be. Some skills have to be at certain levels for certain dialogue options, actions, and events in the game. You can tag 3 skills at this menu, and you can distribute points among any skills you please whenever you level up. In the top left, you can edit your character's age, name, and gender. When starting off, you'll see a big box to the left for text and various other icons and buttons. To move around, click on wherever you want to go with the hexagon cursor. Double-click to run. To inspect things, right-click to change the hexagon cursor to this arrowhead and hover it over whatever you want to inspect, and check what its description is in the text box. You can also hover over yourself and left-click to change your stance. You can hover over other people and click them to talk to them. You can also hold left-click to interact with them in other ways. The mouth talks to them, the binoculars inspect them, the backpack can be used to organize your own inventory, and Vault Boy can be used to utilize any of your skills in the skill decks on that specific person. You can also use your skills by pressing their corresponding number key or selecting them via the skill decks menu. Left-click who or whatever you want to use that skill on after selecting. It'll tell you selected it via the green crosshair. To access your entire inventory, press the I and V icon and everything you have to your name will appear before you. You can use the arrowhead cursor and binoculars to get a description of the item in the box to the far right. You can use the hand cursor to move and arrange things. Item 1 and 2 are self-explanatory slots you can put items you want to use in, whether they be books, weapons, drugs, and etc. You can switch between them without fully opening your inventory by left-clicking the red button above the inventory button. It's a good idea to leave one slot without a weapon in it because various settlements will ask you to put your weapon away quickly, otherwise they'll become hostile. Armor is what your character is currently wearing, and without anything in the slot, the Chosen One, or Vault Dweller, will both just wear literally the exact same vault suit. And I don't mean design-wise, I mean this is like exactly the same suit they are both wearing, handed down. Has this thing been washed? To enter combat, left-click the box that should be labeled Unarmed or Strong Punch at the beginning of a playthrough. After that, use the red crosshair cursor and left-click whomever you're trying to attack. When you have a weapon in the item box, you can right-click it and get different actions. For example, right-clicking on a spear will give you the option to thrust it or throw it, as well as add a target icon in the bottom right of the box. The target icon will let you use what I know isn't called VATS, but I'm going to call it VATS for the sake of simplicity. It allows you to target specific parts of your opponent's body for the best chance of a successful hit, and can be used with most, if not every weapon in the game. In the bottom left of the box, you can see the amount of AP or action points it'll cost you to use a weapon. Above the box, you'll see the amount of AP that you have available. When using an item and not a weapon, left-click the item in the box and then click on whoever you want to use the item on with the yellow crosshair. For other items like C4, you may need to drop them after activating them in your inventory. You'll see the drop icon when holding left-click on an item with the arrowhead cursor. You can use the box underneath the skill decks to either end your turn or end combat altogether. AP that you don't use goes into an armor class boost instead. The CHA button shows you all of your character information. Use the Pip-Boy to wait with the bell icon, check on quests in the status menu, and more. When bartering, make sure the monetary amount on your side matches or is greater than the one on the right, otherwise you probably won't get a trade. When fighting against melee opponents, it's a good idea to spend some AP to attack, then some to walk away from them before you attack again. That way they have to spend some AP to move towards you and probably won't have much left to attack you with. Go into your settings and turn combat speed all the way up, otherwise get ready for a slideshow. Tinker with your resolution if you find everything to be too zoomed out. Save as much as possible and use different slots to potentially get past different scenarios when you're locked out of or stuck in something. Unlike later entries in the series, most doctors will not heal your crippled limbs and you'll need a doctor's bag or decent first aid and doctor skills to heal them yourself. Save before planting explosives onto characters because, as is Fallout tradition, it could cause the game to crash. Fallout 1 will give you a game over if you take too long to find the water chip for Vault 13, but Fallout 2 does not have any sort of timer like this, despite Hakunen's nagging.
Chosen.
Holding shift will highlight items that you can pick up. The amount of companions you can have in Fallout 2 is your charisma value divided by 2. You can push your fat, overweight, door-blocking companions out of the way with the pushing icon holding left-click over them, and you can use kicks to open doors. After the release of Fallout Tactics in 2001 and Fallout Brotherhood of Steel in 2004, the Fallout series went dark until Bethesda's acquisition of the IP. Since then, and since the release of Fallout 3, the fanbase has been split in two between those who prefer the dark comedy, first-person point of view, and real-time present in Bethesda's series of games, and those who prefer the darker undertones and depressing nature of the first few games, feeling as if they better portray and represent the nihilism and hopelessness of the post-apocalypse. Though both sides seem to be at a truce to hate on Fallout 76 as a fan base collectively.
It's you. Hey, still have that unbreakable skull?